Something your story raised in my mind was a theory I read a while ago about the illusion of validity. So it kind of, everybody thinks contracts or letters that come from authority figures are unchallengeable, they're airtight, they've been checked all the time. And I spoke a while ago on the show about authority words and fear words, and banks and debt kind of fall into both. Like if someone said you got a letter from the bank, instantly you'd think the worst, and you'd know that it's coming from someone with authority. And I want to ask you about this because people will have credit card debt to, I'm going to say unreliable creditors, but those credit card companies that aren't really established, aren't really got any authority, and those are the ones that maybe give you a credit card with really low interest or a credit line that's bigger than what you actually should have. Do you think that because we have such a fear over these authorities, it stops us from looking into it to see if we actually are technically falling into that world of fraud?
In a sense of the Stockholm syndrome. So people take on the identity of the abuser. So I've had people push back on me going, you got the credit card, you use the card, you owe the money. Well, that's the Stockholm syndrome where you've taken on the bank's argument and you're not even thinking. So you're basically brainwashed. If you question it, now you're not. But we've been lied to. And that lie's a lie, we can tell by that. But what if it's told generationally? Your mom says, here's a credit card, sonny. You know, you got to pay it. If you don't, they take you to court and you lose all the money, and don't ever be late. Authority is an author. So it's somebody writing it down, and that comes from your right hand, and that's your fist. So when people write things down, it's much different than singing it. So that's more poetic. So it's more your verses versus your prose. So it starts right with language and how we use our language. So when we see that thing in black and white, we believe it's true. And that's the thing. We don't challenge these things. And again, I have to challenge that what you're speaking of credit card debt is a true debt by a merchant. Think back 100, 200 years ago, you went into the general store. You said, hey, Charlie, I need 5 pounds of flour, a pound of sugar, and my crops are coming in a few weeks. They say, oh, yeah, I got you covered. And they keep writing a tab down. And then you say, hey, Charlie, can I borrow $10,000? What am I, a bank? We have to be very clear that it's store-issued credit card debt. And what I'm talking about is bank-issued alleged credit card debt. So that's where I differentiate it. So the bank never provided a service for you and never sold you any products. So now what you say is they loaned you the money. Okay, let's go that direction. So let me ask you a question. If you apply for a loan at a bank and they turn you down, do you still get the loan? No, you don't get the loan. It's a stupid question. It's very important because people mix that up. They hear application and they think that it's a contract. It's not a contract. They think that's a promissory note. It's not a promissory note. Back like what you said, if you get this letter from the bank that says you have an agreement with us, do you really? No, you don't. So what happens is when you apply for a loan, you're approved. Great. Then you go into the bank and you fill out loan documents. Don't you remember doing that? All those pages, all those signatures, and you have to prove you have an income. Because how are you going to pay this loan back if you don't have an income? Think about this. The bank is brought into court, and the judge is saying to them, you're loaning people money that doesn't have an income? That's predatory. Wouldn't you agree? That's the problem the banks have. You also have to have collateral, because how is the bank going to be able to get the money back if you don't pay? You put your house up, you put your car up, and if it's a personal loan, you put your yacht up. Well, that's fine. So now they legally can take it away from you, sell it. If they come up short, that's their problem. If they come up long, they don't get to keep the extra money. They got to give that back to you. So you only pledged 100,000 and the yacht sold for $1 million. They don't keep the other 900,000. You also have a credit report, and a credit score determines your interest rate. But the last thing you sign is a promise to pay it back. If you don't promise to pay it back, the judge is not going to say, well, what is this? Well, we gave them a credit card. Well, that's called a gift card. You know, if you don't promise to pay it back, it's not a loan. So that's the difference between going to a bank and doing a loan. You have to do all that. That never happened with the bank issued alleged credit card.